Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new series. In these videos, I'll be teaching you guys about the mechanics that make the farms that you use work, as well as comparing different types of each of the farm, so if you want to know more about the farms that you're building in your world, stick around. Today, we're diving into one of the classics, iron farms. What defines a village? Before iron golems can spawn, Minecraft first has to recognize the area as a village. A village is defined by at least 3 villagers and at least 3 beds, with each bed claimed by a villager. You'll know a bed is successfully claimed when green particle effects appear as the villager approaches it. One detail many people miss is that villagers interact with the head of the bed, not the foot. If the head is blocked, the villager can't claim that bed. No claim beds means no village and no iron golems. When there's talk about the village center, it can be hard to determine where it is when you have your villagers kind of roaming around everywhere. That's why keeping them in an enclosed area makes it a lot easier to visualize. When they're in a 1 by 1 area, you can see by this arrow here, it is where the feet of all the villagers are. That's where you're counting out from for all the other kind of measurements in this video. Startle Mechanics. Villagers don't spawn iron golems automatically. They need a reason to do it. They need to be scared. Each villager must be able to see a hostile mob, become frightened, calm down, and then repeat this cycle. This panic cycle tells the game that villagers need protection, which triggers golem spawning. If villagers can't see the mob, or they're permanently scared, the farm will stop working. Not all mobs are equal. Zombies tend to be the most common choice when making an iron farm. Villagers can detect them from up to 6 blocks away horizontally. Pillagers can also work, and their detection range is up to 15 blocks away, but disarming them can be tricky and a little time consuming, so they're used less often. Spawn area mechanics. Iron golems don't spawn just anywhere. The game looks for a valid spawn location. A valid spawn location includes the following. It's within a 17 by 13 by 17 area centered around the village, which means 8 blocks horizontally from the center of the village and 6 blocks vertically in all directions. It has to be on a solid block. Transparent blocks don't work, and water doesn't block the spawning, but buttons, carpets, pressure plates, and bottom half slabs prevent spawning. It also needs enough vertical space. A golem requires 3 blocks of height for it to be spawned in a certain area. This is why most iron farms use platforms, water streams, or spawning pads to force iron golems to spawn exactly where you want them. If there are other valid blocks nearby, like a cave, a golem might spawn there instead, which will reduce your farm's efficiency. Iron Golem summoning conditions. Even if the village and scare mechanics are set up correctly, iron golems will only spawn if all of the following conditions are met. Number 1, villagers must have slept within the last 20 minutes, which is 1 full Minecraft day. Most farms naturally start working at night due to this. Number 2, villagers must be close together, within a 10 block radius of each other. That is why compact villager pods are critical for these farms. Number 3, there must be no iron golems nearby. The game checks for golems every 10 seconds in a 16 block radius from the village center. If a golem survives too long or gets stuck, spawning stops. Number 4, there must be no recent summoning nearby. There's a 30-second cooldown and a 10 block range from the villager who last spawned a golem. This means every 30 seconds a villager can call for help, but if another villager within 10 blocks has called for help, then the 30-second cooldown is applied to all villagers within that 10 block area. Placing your villager pods properly prevents conflicts and keeps the farm running efficiently. Alright, to recap, a working iron farm needs a valid village with villagers and claim beds, consistent panic cycles, correct mob placement and sightlines, a controlled spawn area, and fast iron golem removal, so the game can keep spawning them. Get all 5 right and your iron farm should run non-stop. Alright, now that we understand the mechanics behind the iron farm, we can look at a couple examples of iron farms that I found online. These are good for depending on what kind of stage you are in your game, and what kind of output you're looking for in your iron farm. From easy to medium to hard, these will get you through your journey in your Minecraft world for gathering all the iron for your iron needs, unless you're looking for one that is going to make a massive monument of thousands of blocks of iron. These should get you through your Minecraft world. Alright, so our first easy farm here is very basic. So we have our kill chamber here. So this is where the iron golems are going to spawn. They're going to be pushed by the water into this lava, die, and then all the items are going to go to a hopper, easily into our chest. It's all held together with easy sides, so nothing too complicated. So now if we come down to the spawning chamber, you can see how it kind of works. So we have our zombie in a boat, so he's never going to despawn, and he's kept at the very perfect position. You have to place the boat very specifically so that he can see through this gap here. He can't see the villagers when they're on the side here, but he can with the trap door. This makes sure that when they're seen in the middle, that they panic, and then once they come to the outside where it's no longer visible to the zombie, they can calm down, and then it repeats the cycle like I mentioned earlier. Since it's located at this specific position, the only placeable area for the iron golem to spawn is up here due to the vertical spacing. So you can see I've placed a couple of these magenta glazed terracotta so we can count. So this is 6 blocks up. If it were to be any higher, nothing would spawn here. It's also within the 8 horizontal blocks. So everything here is going to work. If you had any caves over here, that would kill the spawn rates. You'd spawn them over here, and then since they're probably not going to be able to escape the area within the 16 blocks, they're never going to spawn another iron golem. Your farm's dead. So always make sure when you're doing these underground farms that you check for caves first. Alright, now leveling up to the medium difficulty farm. So this one's going to get you approximately 4 times as much iron in it, just because it's the exact same setup as this one over here, the easy farm, except for it utilizes the kind of corner, so all 4 of these spawn into the same area. So it's basically just 4 of these compacted into one. It utilizes a nice drop tube, so the second it comes down here, it's no longer within their radius, which means they can spawn more, which utilizes the kind of getting it out of your area as fast as possible. Once it's dropped down here, it dies to lava, ends up in these, and then we have our kind of storage room here. You can see just by having this world open, it's gotten me a lot of iron. So this one is a little bit better, but it is still not the best. So let's get to the most hard level difficulty iron farm. Alright, now onto the hard level difficulty farm. So this one is going to be probably the end game for most Minecraft players unless you're going for an insane amount of iron that you need a lot more. This one, instead of letting the villagers run around and break line of sight themselves, we use a zombie in a water bubble column with a soul sand. So at the apex of the kind of jumping here, it briefly hits the eye line of these guys, causing them to panic, but then it breaks that eye line when he's at the bottom of the jump. So that's a much quicker way of getting the panic cycle going through these guys. Now, this one has 2 on each. Thankfully, they're separated enough so they don't break that 10 block rule, which means they can spawn independently of each other and don't have to wait that 30 seconds. Next is these water paths. So these are the only areas that can spawn, thanks to all these bottom half slabs up here, and hopefully nothing kind of floating in the air here. This one's more suited for above ground than underground, because you'd have to do a lot of cave clearing to make it more efficient. So the iron golems spawn on this platform. The water pushes them down to the center, it kind of gathers them into the middle here, pushes them through these open fence gates down into lava. Now, I've been using some soul campfires because it kills them quicker, which means you can spawn more. If you were to have a lower tunnel, maybe, if you had like a deeper hole, then you might not need this, but killing them faster means you get your iron faster, which is always good. And then it's just 4 of the exact same thing around. So you just want to make sure that you have enough space for this one, enough blocks, and keeping the iron golems spawning. Now these guys, you can see it uses the head of the bed here. If this was backwards like this bed is no longer usable because it can't go diagonal. It has to be right beside it. So going like this allows all 3 of them to be used. Alright, I think we're coming to the end of today's video. So let's just quickly go over the different rates of these farms, as well as some tips and tricks that might be able to help fix your farm in your world. So starting on the easy difficulty, we're starting off at around 300 plus per hour. The next medium one is about 1,000, and then for the hard difficulty, it's between 16 and 1800. Now, for this one, there was one slight change I made from the original video that I got it from. On this side, you can see it's all the way on the edge, and then on this one, I shifted it in by 1. When I had them on this side, I got 1600, but when I brought them in slightly closer to the zombie, I got actually 1800. Now, this might be due to the fact where your iron golems might not always drop the most amount of iron possible, which can change the rates, which is why most people say approximately 300 plus, because it could be more, but usually it can also be less. Not everyone mentions that in their videos. Alright, for a little bit of troubleshooting, we have something like this. We've got these villagers, and he's ready to go to bed. There's no zombie here, so he should be able to sleep. It's time. Everyone else is sleeping. Why isn't he getting into the bed? Well, a quick way to fix this, break, replace. He'll re-recognize it, and now he'll sleep in there. So occasionally this will happen if maybe things get unloaded, you leave the game, rejoin the game. Not sure what causes it, but it's like they forget which bed's theirs and that they have claimed it. So just breaking it, replacing it, they'll reclaim it, and your farm will get back to working. Another little tip for your iron farm is you should always let your villagers sleep before you put your zombie into the farm. So if we place it tonight, we let them all sleep, make sure that they all recognize their beds. Got a couple extra in here by accident, but once they're all on their beds, then it's time to bring in your zombie, and it works a lot better that way. You can see here, this guy's not always getting scared, which is why I brought this in slightly by one on this one. Occasionally it doesn't reach it, or he doesn't see it for some reason because he's slightly out of the distance. Alright, and that is going to do it for today's episode of Farms with Frost. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope with this brand new knowledge you can either go fix your iron farm that maybe stopped working for no reason and you can now figure it out on your own, or maybe you can design your own iron farm, which is always a fun thing to try. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like, subscribe for more soon, and let me know what farms you'd like me to take a look at next. Till next time.